Right. Thank you. Thank you. This is call the meeting to order. This is a meeting of the Board of Selectmen, the Board of Health at Townhouse Auditorium, June 14th, 2021 at 6 p.m. We are also conducting this meeting in person and through Zoom. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Particular reverence today because it's Flag Day. Allegiance to the flag and to the republic. With a note to that, the selectmen did take action a couple of years ago to leave the flags on Main Street up from Memorial Day through the 4th of July. The sequence of minutes, June 7th. That was a good recap of the dog meeting. Make a motion to move on.
Eric, Mr. Second motion.
In favor? I have the letter of some here.
Yeah.
Got it.
No,
on the side. First item on the agenda is the Historic Commission review.
I asked Connie to come, see Betty's here, and just to brief the board on any outstanding issues involving the Historic Commission and also to talk about the vacancies.
Well, one of our issues that we're dealing with is we lost one of our members because he moved out of town. And we're missing him, but we're looking for new members. And we have a very nice candidate, I think, that came before to our meeting a few weeks ago. And she's sitting beside me. And it's Christina. And we think she'd be a wonderful addition. She has lots of questions that night. And the three of us that are presently on the commission felt that Christina would be a wonderful addition.
What's your interest?
So I very much enjoy town history, preserving that history, and I feel like the historical commission is a great place to be with that, making sure that everything's done the right way, and leaving a legacy for the future of Hampden.
Because you know the pay.
Yeah, no.
You're good with it.
Yeah,
You're good with it.
yeah, that's totally fine with me.
Okay. All right. We make the appointment.
We do. I'm just wondering, you have the chart and we have an idea of what terms are at this point. So it's you, Joyce, and Connie at this point, right?
Right, and Joyce, right. And yeah, I think I should be off of it.
But you can't be, because we're hearing
But if
that.
you want to re-up me, I'd be happy to be part of the commission. Yeah, and
Well, there was a
Joyce-
rumor, Betty, that Connie may be moving, and I think that's a concern for your board, right?
well, yeah, but we won't let it go for
Don't ask, don't tell.
now. Right. Yeah,
So we don't have a sense of what, if you're being appointed like to fill mail-ons, we don't have a sense of what his term was at this point, right?
I think he would be up now, actually, and I think Joyce also. Yeah. Yeah. I will. And
Is that
so
the annual report?
those need,
No,
those
those are
numbers,
almost
those
three
years need
stacked.
to be.
Oh,
yeah,
yes,
yeah.
Let's make a, so we have Joyce, Betty, Connie, Christine. Make a motion to appoint Joyce to a term expiring in June 30th, 2022. Betty expiring June 30th, 2022. Connie and Christine, June 30th, 2023. And it's not, let's at least give each of them a full year and go from there. And you're going to still search for a fifth member for your board anyhow as well, right?
Right.
Of course.
Yes.
Any second? So,
I feel like I should abstain from that vote.
second,
How do you feel about, never mind, I don't want to put you on the spot.
all in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous.
Could have been unanimous. Recusal.
Well, we got this painting Academy Hall.
Yes,
We're painting in a different color.
well, there was a request and I can get
What?
those samples. Fret not, John.
No, at
It's
first I
just
heard of this.
two colors, one a trim color and the main color. And if you give me 2 seconds, I will go down. You can see the file. Chat on. I don't-
Yeah, yeah.
So it wouldn't be vintage white. It would just be-
I don't know, I hadn't heard anything about this.
Well, Don will. And he's, well.
I read my email.
Was it sent to just Don?
So,
Might have been. Might have been.
Silver Society would be surprised as well.
Is that gonna change the price then if we do different colors? As far as,
I got this, the curious person, that's the scraping.
That's the neighbor from Scraper, that's got to be-
Actually, while we're talking about that, Bob, can we check into, with Larry on the fire escape, please? Make a note.
on
of
the
that.
fire escape.
Remember we approved getting
Yeah.
that. I know, you're like, so are we done?
I think.
No, no, we have to look at the color, we have to look at the color swatches.
No. That's the
There are
society,
actually
that's
some
not
really
the-
nice. I see you turning your nose up.
you know, color.
Well,
It's
it's a
green.
white
Is that a green?
trim.
It's green or gray?
Great, I think. Great. Great design.
Have you seen those pictures? Oh, no. Mark, have you
This
seen?
is a house in town, isn't it?
That was the one on Main Street, here,
Yeah.
175.
I like the one with blue gray. One is white.
One right there.
Is that what it was?
Gray.
The blue gray.
Most of them
Yeah,
are white
that's-
with green shirts.
Yeah, I think that's the accent. of the color.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they used to just whitewash the houses.
Yeah. That was our test.
Iconic.
Yeah, we showed it.
I love the trim versus just the main building, but Bob, what do you think?
I like it, I like it. The colors.
I do too.
A
Connie,
lot
we're
of
looking at,
options in this folder here.
Yeah. I'm
What's
happy to
that?
bring
There's a
you
lot of options in there.
Sure.
right, I mean,
Sounds like it's good. I like the color scheme.
had you seen these samples that Mark Casey sent along from Will? No? What's going on in the ranks?
Still be taking care of the building as well as that.
It'd be white, right?
It would be white. And the typical color for a Greek Bible house was white
Mhm.
because they were copying Greek temples, which were made in marble and limestone. So
My first thought was the traditional New England building,
Mm.
town building is always.
Maybe some action on the windows.
Yeah, some.
I would love, and I would love a little bit of color, even if it stays white, but what we have for trim, I think would look very nice with something.
Maybe flip it, the trim option.
Well, yeah,
they were always traditionally just white. The first colored house in town was the house on the
No,
sorry, I get you. The house on the corner of Main and Chapin, where Maybelle her father had that built, and that was 1903. And that was the first colored house. The first house that had paint of a different color on it.
Thank you.
wow.
I gotta say, I'm not in
Make sure
favor of
Pam
the
gets
color.
that right in the minutes.
You're not afraid of any color?
I like the white.
No trim? Really?
Maybe the shutters, but I don't think,
Well, shutters, if there were shutters, would be, when that was built, it would be the Paris green, the color of the shutters at Sturbridge Village, which is a little shocking to us now. I mean, I did green shutters. I have wooden working green shutters for my house. They're not on it, but they're a darker green because it really is very bright.
Oh, congratulations.
Do you have anything to bring us up to date on?
Well,
Quickly.
that we will be bringing forward again the National Register District.
You gotta resubmit the CPA again. You've talked to
Yes.
Doug again.
No, I haven't talked to Doug yet, but I'm glad that the COVID thing is wearing down.
If you're looking to develop something like a mailing or something, as a private
Yes.
citizen, I would be happy to help you with that.
Okay.
I think it's important, I think it's important to get the information out to people prior to any town meeting.
Well, we do too, and we've also discussed having a forum
Mhm.
in the auditorium and just inviting that all of the people, we would mail out something to all of the people with a postcard, so we know how many people are opposed and
I can opt out.
for it. And also that there would be a forum, so we just send out the whole thing all at once. I really didn't expect as much interest or opposition or people who weren't sure. I mean, it's
I think it was just the ambiguity, not the ambiguity. I wouldn't say opposition per se. I think it was just people weren't familiar enough with the topic.
Well, there are some people, I just happened to talk to Cliff Lombard a couple of weeks ago. He was at the Garden for Plant Sale. And he said he wouldn't vote for it because he thought it would lead to something else.
But that's my point, because of less information, people think and think that I think if you have an
Right.
opportunity with your foreman center to answer these questions, when you heard people like Ellen Bump getting up and saying they researched it fully, just like you did, and they were in agreement with it, that's
Right.
key. So
Yeah,
when they live in one of the oldest houses in town as well.
well, actually, I think if Ellen had been the last person to speak, it might have passed because it was compelling when it came from Ellen.
Okay, good luck with Doug.
So that's it.
By the way, you've been appointed for 2023.
Oh, thanks a lot. I mean, I've been doing this for too long. I really would like to get some younger people like Christina and Betty. Well,
Maybe.
That's a comment.
and also if anybody knows of any men, particularly men from the west side, we're east side heavy here. And we always have been. And it would be nice to have somebody from the west side to represent that whole area of town.
Excellent.
So if you think of somebody.
Thank
Did you reach out to Tyler?
Thanks.
Yes, I have, and Tyler is interested in being on the commission. But right now, he's still involved with the Rotary Club, so. You know, that comes,
Yeah.
that's something he's committed
Sure.
to right now.
Thanks, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Fiber optic committee.
All right, so we got 7 applicants so far that are interested in joining the committee. I'm waiting to hear back from one more. But I think that would be a good number.
Pretty heavy number of committees in the past, but I think looking at the resume, so to speak, you put out in that.
Yeah,
thing,
a lot of people.
You've got a lot
have
of
some
good
background.
background with those people.
So I say we give it one more week to have people,
Right.
express their interest.
Well, it's a good time of the year because our agenda is not terribly heavy. Do you think it's worthwhile having all the people who are meeting at one time, get them to share their idea, focus, and then
I do, I think so. I think if we give them one more week to figure out who is still interested, and then for the following meeting, if we say to all people that are interested, have them come on down. I really think we need to figure out how many people we want on the committee. I feel like 7 would be a good number.
Yeah.
8 would be stretching it, but I think we could work with that. Everybody could be assigned different tasks and report back to the selectmen what they find. If we give them a goal and some
I
type
like
of
that plan.
some type of driven information.
Right. So we'll put it on again for next week.
Okay, and I'll reach out to all the members that are interested, potential members, and have them attend next week.
Right. Shared health services.
You should have the letter of intent to be signed. I also included late today, something that was not in the original packet. You should each have one of these, Don.
Yep.
One of these. This is a listing of other communities in the Commonwealth that are involved with this particular shared health services grant program.
So they're gonna meet on the 21st, and then we'll have another revision at that point, for what we've been working towards.
He's done well. Today is Monday. Yes, that's right. And the difference between the current IMA and the final 7th version will be that they're going to clarify that when revenues are raised from inspections, that they go to the respective towns.
I would think just in general, they would go to respective towns and then we would pay the bill as submitted by, so to speak, this district. Right now, in the next couple of years, that bill is going to be 0 or minimal. So as long as it's clear it's going to us and then we pay whatever bills presented to us, then we're fine. Because that's the
Right.
going forward. The other thing about this list here, obviously we still have Lori on the list. Going forward, I think Mr. Bob, it would be good to redirect that to health, to Jane's office. I did reach out to Lori as well and asked going forward, because she does leave in July, is she going to continue to scan her email and forward anything that's Hampden related? Because it takes a while for that type of thing to filter across. Work with her on setting an auto reply and auto forward for any Hampden related business that's still coming to her.
You also have in the packet the letter from February 12th, where selectmen in the individual towns asked PVPC to dedicate some of the funds that they receive, the so-called DLTA funds, to this project. So.
Now, what's this last piece of paper here? The Maine Department of Public Health Regional Excellence Grant Shared Services.
This is it. This is the letter of intent.
We have to do something with that.
You just have to sign it. This goes to the department, reassuring them that when they provide the money, that the towns that are in fact engaged are committed to the project.
Board of Health Chair, and then the other one be you.
Yes. Well, the Board of Health Chair and maybe the chair of the board.
Should it be on letterhead or?
No, this is the letter
It's just
that
the
this is the letter that was given to us. So this is the one they want you to sign.
So you think I should just sign it as chair and John will sign it as chair of the Board of Health?
Yeah, John and
You can fill in the blanks. John is visiting his ex. Crosswalk on Summers Road.
I have prepared the posting for combis. I've had some trouble. I was posting it last Wednesday. I couldn't get on combis. It is notoriously bad site. And the state just resists improving it. But it will be posted on there. And we'll see what kind of bids that we get. Also, we did receive the digital radar device in the last couple of days. It's at the highway garage. It has to be tagged. So I asked him to move it over to the parking lot so you could all see it, but he doesn't want to move it. Chief doesn't think it should be moved until they get tags for it. It's at the highway garage because they had to install the batteries, but this thing should be operational very soon.
How soon before they register it? How soon before they register?
Well, it's a little process. We have to send paperwork to their insurance. They overnight it back to us. A week.
And as I said before, the advantage of this device is that not only does it have the effect of calming traffic when it flashes the speed that you're driving, but also we can use it from time to time to advise the public with that same readout of important events, town meetings, town elections, and so forth. So
It has to be registered if it's a trail,
because it's a trailer, yeah.
Do we know if the police department has a vehicle they can tow it with? Do they have any?
We talked about that with the chief. They do have a vehicle they can do, but they have to put a ball on the back. Which is what the other thing they'll be doing.
Okay. Fire Station Subcommittee.
I did prepare just a little statement that we could read out to the public asking for volunteers. At this point, we just have one.
At the capital planning committee meeting, we've been discussing this for a couple of months, and the committee as a whole feels it's probably not appropriate for them to be looking at the project. They're not into the 2x4s per se. They're into the capital as a large thing. So they did recommend back, as I brought to the board last week, that the board appoint this committee that would get into the nuts and bolts, if you will, and come up with a plan, much like we had the police station building committee 5 years ago, 6 years ago, roughly, something like that. Yeah. We date ourselves here.
So this would be a specialized committee to work with the chief and others to come up with a final plan before getting approval of selectmen and going for funding.
So are we looking for people that are experienced in construction, contractors?
Yes,
That's what we
very
want.
definitely.
So any Joe off the street that has a say, we don't want them on the board?
I don't think we want to say we don't want anybody on the board.
Yeah.
We want to bring them forth their interest and see how their interest fits into the makeup of the committee.
Any further discussion on that? So we're gonna post, put that out and see what we get for.
I will put this on the website. So you're agreeable to it.
All right. New probationary firefighter.
Chief is here to talk about the new probationary firefighter. And the probationary firefighter is apparently here.
Thank you for allowing time in your agenda this evening to see us. Tonight, I have a new candidate for probationary firefighter, basically a call volunteer firefighter in the fire department. Would be available for mostly nights and weekends. As I came before the board a couple months ago with 3 candidates, this would be the same position. This isn't to fill a full-time spot or anything like that. It's just someone looking to join the fire department and provide emergency services. Her name is Nicole O'Donnell. She lives very close to the fire station, within a mile. Do you have her information?
Yep. So the role of a probationary firefighter, what's going to be the primary goal in getting her up to speed? Would she be tagging along?
So at first, what we've been doing, because we had a little insurge of probationary firefighters, we have them come an hour early before a regular training, which is every Monday night. And we start with the basics. And they have binders signed to them individually, and they have to do certain tasks that they have to complete, they have signed off by someone who signature wise. And that will bring them up to speed to where we feel comfortable where they can start doing a regular training. And at that point, as the year's time passes, so that we feel we can train them to a firefighter that will allow them to become a member. At that same time, they're allowed to go to the Call Volunteer Academy, Massachusetts Academy, which will excel them through that process.
Do we pay for the academy? Is that part of the training?
No, the academy is free to all of our departments. You have to apply, and you have to be accepted, but it's a free service that the state pays.
Was there any restrictions that when she's probationary that she can't do hands off?
Well, yes, for us, she's not allowed any structure fires. We keep everybody out of that until they meet those requirements on the binder. They get checked out, they have to be certified, still test the layouts before.
Well, Nicole, what's the deal? Why do you want to do this?
Because I'd rather put more people ahead before myself. I love working with children, animals. When it comes to helping someone out, I'm always there. And I'm tired of seeing people watching something happen and not acting on it. So I want to be the person that's able to act on it, having that power in my hands, able to do so. But working with children is it's good. So
You're probably pretty good with ladders. I see your tree.
yeah, my bucket truck goes 70 feet straight up in the air. I try to get it to go any higher. It won't.
You're not afraid of heights.
No, I love it. I used to fly planes too, so want to go back to getting my pilot's license eventually too. Absolutely love it.
All right.
She does also have a CDL license already.
Well, I'm sorry.
She does have a CDL license as well.
Okay.
And that's required to drive in the truck.
It's not required, what's required by the state is to be fully trained on emergency vehicles. You're not required, but she, headed out process for us, to understanding.
Well, how about CPR and stuff like
I'm
that?
CPR and first aid certified every single year. First aid, I believe, is every other year, and then CPR is every year for Aspen, where I work. I'm pretty sure you can pull it up online because they don't give us the card, but I get the training yearly through them.
We have still get the same training through the fire department, state requirement to be at least first responder training. Fire department. So most of our people are EMT or higher, and then we have to have them trained to be first responders, which includes CPR, AED training, oxygen.
How many females do you have in the department?
If she's appointed tonight, she'll be the third one.
We're getting there, almost to 50%. Well, I'm just curious. I wanted to make sure the chief was.
Version.
Any other questions? Motion?
Chairman, I move to appoint Nicole O'Donnell to the role of probationary firefighter.
Subject to all requirements issued by the chief. Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Congratulations.
Get to work.
Very much, I
Get to work.
appreciate it.
The meeting's next door right now.
We're gonna go join the training right now.
What about the vacancy? Where are we there?
I'm trying to reach out to treasurer to see where the pay rate is.
Oh, okay.
I was curious, maybe the town administrator can tell me, I don't know if there's a step or not, or if they're gonna be hired by the same rate that the person's worked there for 4 years. That's the question I had.
I did not think there was a step on.
Yeah. Oh, same rate.
Okay.
Okay. All right, thank-
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
again.
Thank you very much. Very nice meeting you guys as well.
Thank you for your time.
What else we got here? Fire Station, probation firefighter. Review, oh yeah, I put this on, review of the July 1st expiration. We always have people coming up. Oh, yeah.
You had that chart and you and Bob were working on it. Just-
I have the chart. It's maybe 65% finished. I will finish it and get it to you before the week is out. So you can look it over for Monday night.
Yeah, it's not so much we look it over. I think you get that chart, you can email the board and say, are your people interested in still serving? And
I
then.
know what the
come back.
answer to that is.
Oh, we haven't asked
We don't have
that?
any-
Congratulations.
I just said congratulations, right?
I mean, if they hadn't told us Milan, we would still be on the board.
All right, this is,
Our meeting's good.
So, I mean, I think I asked about the
Meeting
summer meeting schedule. Typically in the past, and this goes back decades, that in July and August, we might meet every other week. And if there was a need for something, the chair would determine, hey, we're gonna have to come in next Monday and address this. And that's, I know we've committed to the Tuesday after the fourth.
yeah,
already.
last year we didn't because we had so much on the agenda
Right.
with everything, but this year we really clean up a lot of things, so.
Right.
Then game we start. So
July
there's not
6th.
the fourth, too?
Well, it's the sixth, I think, is the fifth is the formal holiday, because the
Okay.
fourth is Sunday.
Okay, so meet the
The
sixth.
sixth, and then it'd be
Well-
19th after that.
When do we have to meet though for the, into the transfer and all that stuff?
I thought we were doing that the Tuesday, because we close the books typically within 10 days of
Right.
July. Bob can confirm that with.
All right, okay.
It's Cliff and.
They close the books on the 15th of July typically, and I haven't seen Cliff, he's been on vacation, but name of the game for us now is to set up a transfer list so that you can approve it, and then it goes to the advisory committee prior to the end, prior to the closing of the books.
If required.
I
saw I saw the recap that he sent out, I think, over the weekend. It looked like most accounts were in very good shape. I saw
Yeah,
I really didn't see any red flags. And, that typically he can't take care of with, the approval of DOR.
so the sixth, July sixth,
Yeah. And then
20th.
19. Sixth is
Oh,
Tuesday.
Yeah.
The 19th. The sixth is my anniversary,
You too?
Well, you're gonna want to know.
53 years.
See, I call that a sentence.
Hey, man, I mean, nothing says we can't start this the Monday following, giving Cliff more time to get this list to us as well.
If I did something on our anniversary, you'd think something was up.
Don, if you're gonna do every other week, you would skip the 21st, and we do the 28th, and then we'd skip the 6th, and we do the next week. If we go on the
Starting
2-week
this
schedule
July.
now.
No, we're starting this in July.
July 6th, we'll do the 6th.
Oh, you're
Starting
gonna
July.
start
Can you do
July.
the sixth?
Well, if you
If I
started
did
it now,
if I did
then-
something for, on our anniversary, she'd be
if you started now,
Think
then you'd
somebody
be on the
will.
right schedule.
So you're saying you haven't done anything for 56 years?
53 years.
53 years?
Right.
Yeah, so the 6th, 19th, and we'll
I've
go.
been married long enough to be a wiser man, I would think, about this.
No, no.
That'll still give us 5 meetings over 2 months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if we need something, we can always. do.
But you can motion to cover. Special meeting, yeah.
All right, so Great Horse Entertainment License.
Note in there as well as the license.
Okay,
And it surprised me that you were here at that time, Don, and we had the conversation with Guy.
yeah, it was. I believe I pointed out to him that the entertainment license was attached to his liquor license, so that we wanted to be sure that they ended the music at 9:30.
Yes, that's minutes.
So I guess we'll. I think what happened was that we initially approved his license and we had the wrong days or something, like that, and we changed it.
Most of the other licenses are Thursday, Friday,
Right,
Saturday.
right.
They had requested every day,
Every day,
and which was not normal for what we had done, but.
because
Guy came
they have a
in.
different operation.
Yeah.
Right, and we have all kinds of other events too.
But there
Right.
There is also a note of concern from residents
Yeah,
that I put in the file.
That's why if I look at what we granted, it's just for information. 2 years ago, we wrote down 12:30 to 9:30 outside and 12 AM indoors with the doors closed.
Yeah.
And those
Doors
were-
closed, I think is the big thing. Right?
Yeah.
Doors closed is the big thing.
9:30 outdoors to close the stop.
8 o'clock on Sundays, right?
Yeah,
8 o'clock.
And the Sundays are different.
Yeah.
Different.
The profit is printed or license is printed somewhere. In the bill. No, not the white copy, just
The
right, right where the note is,
green.
under there, I think there should be a.
That's a new one.
This was
No,
2019.
no, there's a, look in the, yes, in the bill folder, there should be a green license.
Or? 9:30, Sunday, 8, indoor entertainment, 12 to 12, with the doors closed.
So it's the same as it was.
Same.
then.
Approval.
I'm going to recuse myself. because I am a member of Great Lakes.
I will motion to grant the license to Great Horse Entertainment for January 1st through December 31st, 2021. Monday through Sunday, outdoor entertainment poolside until 9:30 PM, Sunday until 8 PM. Indoor entertainment 12 PM to 12 AM with the doors closed.
I believe, not to just point of information, I believe the licenses are two separate licenses. There's a Monday through Saturday license and a separate Sunday
There is a
license.
separate Sunday.
Yeah, does it say Monday through Sunday? No, it doesn't say that.
Says poolside, Monday through Sunday,
Monday through Sunday, so Monday through Saturday, and then do a. if
and then
they want,
outdoor
it's-
entertainment poolside until 9:30 PM, Sunday until 8 PM. So
Okay, let me.
it calls out the two
Yeah,
different days,
that's consistent with,
the previous years.
Yeah, let me redo that and I'll have it in the office. for signatures.
Okay.
Thank you.
Because they pay a separate fee for the Sunday
we
license.
do $50
So this should be
and
Saturday.
50 To the state.
Right.
It's Saturday.
So we motion to grant the license Monday through Saturday until 9 PM, poolside and indoor from 12 PM to 12 AM with the doors closed. Additional license for Sunday.
Second. All in favor? We're not signing that, but we're giving motion. Right. Solar tax.
there was a bigger recap by Kelly
Yeah.
and where we were there.
I put both proposed pilot agreements into the new folder for the 21st. It's important that if you're going to sign these pilots, that we do so before the 24th, because after the 24th, the value of the solar units does not go into the tax base. So whether or not I think the assessors have some mixed feelings about this. When I said to Kelly, it looks like there's no incentive now to do pilots. Their response was, yes, there is. If without the pilot, then we'd have to periodically revalue the property. And that could land us in appellate tax court regularly, which would mean additional legal expenses for the town. So that's the downside of not doing a pilot.
Sure.
We have great information. Why don't we invite Kelly and Norm Shrest to our meeting next Monday? We'll really discuss this with, so I think the tax experts from right now. I know Kelly's on vacation this week, but she's back next week, I think.
But the Amoresco one is, they have 100, we've signed a lease agreement for $140,000.
Yes.
Less
Yes.
the pilot. So if their pilot is 69,000, so we get 69,000 tax and 70,000 plus lease payment. How is it different?
What's the difference?
What's the
The difference is that the value of the solar units, personal property, goes into the tax base now. After the 24th of June, under the new law, it does not.
Okay,
And subject to reval.
So it goes into the
Yeah.
tax base, I guess.
New
That's
growth,
open
it
to
becomes new growth.
interpretation.
What does that mean?
That means that next year, or in succeeding years, you can tax in addition to the pilot, the value of that goes into your base, which means it expands your tax base. And presumably lessens the tax burden on all the other taxpayers.
So the lease payment. The lease payment.
That's a ground lease.
That's a good ground. So that just goes, that's just revenue.
That's right.
The license fees is just revenue, right? So that doesn't mean nothing for the taxpayers.
Nothing for, well,
I mean, it gives
it's
us
in the
money.
tax base.
That's it, right,
It's in the tax base.
right.
But, and up until the 24th, the value of personal property went into the tax base, even though the revenue didn't come from taxes, it would come from the pilot agreement. After the 24th, that changes. And it would seem to be, I think it seems to make pilots much more difficult for the towns, except that the assessors would then have, if you didn't have a pilot agreement, the assessors would then have to periodically revalue the facilities, and that could result in appeals to the appellate tax court.
But we do keep, that's why we keep the escalator clause in the
Yes.
agreements as well, so if equipment changes,
Right.
we can recap that. I understand Don's
So it
point.
cuts two
If
ways.
it's 100,000 coming to the town, why do you care? If it's here, it's here, it's still money coming to the town. But like you say, if you are taking away the potential for possible litigation, if you will, or arguments about the value, locking it in, the town can then depend on this number every year. There's some advantage to
The
that.
whole value of the pilot is that it's dependable revenue every year, it doesn't change.
Yeah.
Whereas if you don't have the pilot, you
Yeah,
have gradual
Depreciation.
Appreciation.
Similar to the lease we have for the tower at the transfer station, where we do have in the agreement as well, as they get additional perhaps carriers, we have risers built in to the agreement. As long as you cover yourself for any expansion, which the board has done with potential for change out of equipment, there's nothing wrong with that.
But with property values going up, would that increase our tax base down the road?
Well, I think you look at the fact that cap landfill is what it is.
Yeah.
You know, in terms of the value of that property, it's never gonna go in.
Right.
The DEP is never gonna allow you to do anything on top of that property.
Well, that
So I think
particular-
right now, putting up solar on it is the best value.
That's what other towns are doing too.
Right.
The only use of a capped landfill is for solar out.
I think back when they started, they talked, there were 46 that they've worked on in Mass already.
What about the Park Avenue solar? 2.0 mil, and it's pending. We don't have a pilot, we don't have.
We have the pilot,
a-
and that is also in the folder, and I'll send it to you tomorrow.
Good opportunity.
How much is that? How much is that? I think I did see that.
I did send you a printout of it.
Yeah.
That's the one where it's not landfill space, so we put property values just going to go up.
Right.
So we're
Down-
benefit.
Downside of that one, that is the property that's near the river, so in terms of development, it would have been constrained somehow as opposed to what they do with the solar.
So we'll see them next month.
So Bob, you'll reach
So
out.
you want Norman and you want Kelly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Inventory of town property. That's my thing.
This has been talked about by the capital planning committee, but we obviously haven't done anything.
We have an inventory. Isn't that part of our GASB?
Yeah, we
already?
do.
Yes.
Yeah, we
So,
do.
right.
We do.
What do we have on?
We have every building. Every building has a value.
Contents,
What?
contents.
Yeah.
And
What-
the
I'm sorry,
insurance
Ken, what's the
company
rate?
has
Is
it
the
as well.
GASB 45 is the latest, or is it been replaced by 50?
I know Gatsby.
I can send you a
I
copy
guess my
of what
question is, do
is
we
used
have,
by the insurance company.
we have the lawnmowers, the
The defibs and
the
the
defibs,
cruisers, the
the
laptops.
weed
Yeah.
whackers, the chainsaws, the.
What is actually?
It's pretty detailed. I mean, 'cause
It
they come up with
is
that
detailed,
GASB
I
value.
get asked that on an annual basis, and I send it out to department heads
Mhm.
and ask that they, add what they need to it. And,
Kicking around, yeah.
What?
So, then you get the latest back to board.
I guess I have two concerns.
Yeah.
One is insurance,
yes,
and the one is mobile equipment. The one is mobile equipment that can
yes,
move.
understood,
Um,
understood. I will,
Or we may have equipment that's sitting around that hasn't been used for 10 years.
What technology too?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think we do a pretty good recap.
yeah. So that's,
I'll pull together what I have from the insurance company. I don't know what.
I have the printout that we use for the insurance company.
and went back to Amoresco, what do you make of the letter from the Fisheries and Wildlife? A good
Well,
thing?
I think it's positive, basically.
Yeah.
I thought
They like the
they
proposal.
complimented Amoresco on their
Yeah,
action.
That's right. They like the proposal, and I think it means that we're going to continue forward.
So we got Amoresco pilot, we got environmental correspondence, tie and bond DEP correspondence, that's the water project.
Yeah, it was good to see the survey out there working ahead of
Yes.
schedule, but
Last business.
making sure all of them. When I heard the survey was coming out, I did put a notice out to Ted as well. I don't know, see Ted on. I don't know if he had an opportunity to go out and meet with the people when they were going flagging around the brook. But,
Yes, I did.
oh, quick, Craig.
Here we go. Yes.
Dad with the remote.
Nailed it.
So I'm sorry, Ted.
Good
what?
reflexes.
Ted again.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, I did go out with them when they did the two brooks and the bridge and the culvert. I spent about 3 hours with them the other day. Pretty much what they found, anywhere from 30 to 50 feet from the road, was pretty much normal. They only found one thing that was a little bit of a surprise. We found one BVW, which is a bordering vegetative wetland where Big Brook meets the Scantic. That's the only thing of importance, and it's not a big deal, but it's something that he had to spend quite a while with flagging and making note of. Other than that, it was pretty much a routine event.
I mean, where there's drilling, Ted, isn't that quite a bit away from that junction? Where that's just what they do when they flag. They look for everything.
Oh, they have to do that, John. Everything within so many feet of the road has to be marked. It's state and federal law.
But where they're talking about doing that under drilling thing, it's nowhere near that intersection.
Near which?
Where they're talking about drilling, coming along the roadside. I mean, that junction is, I think, on the south side of the road, correct?
Yeah, yes, it is, but they still have to mark it, John.
It's fine.
It still has to be noted so that contractors, when they're working, don't decide to dump dirt there from the hole. They have to know it's there, has to be flagged.
Okay, great. Thank you for going out, Ted.
Thanks, Ted. And we have Okay, correspondence, selectmen's reports.
Last week I attended Parks and Rec. They were having some issues with their spray park and the timing controller. That had to be replaced. There were some other chemical issues that got out of whack because the timers weren't cycling properly. So they took care of that. They fixed a broken skimmer because it was clogging up one of the pumps. So everything should be good for the summer for the spray park at this point going forward. Some parents involved with the rec are looking to reorganize the RAW, which was a Recreation Association of Hampden. And they want to try to establish fundraisers and activities.
That's when John and I were children.
Yeah,
No, I was
they want to get more
pushing
youth
around for-
interested in
I was
community sports.
pushing
So they're hoping that with those fundraisers and activities, they can create some type of youth engagement to get more kids interested in sports.
That's interesting, because Don can speak to this. Back in the day, RA used to be,
Oh, yeah.
you know, we did the uniforms, we
Yeah.
did everything.
They're talking about doing a Valley Blue Sox game to generate some interest with kids.
Now it's the booster club,
Yeah.
basically.
We've got movies.
Parks Parks and Rec, we did the
Movies, yeah.
projecting here, et cetera.
And they also brought up the topic of maybe obtaining a vehicle.
I think I brought that up to the board before. I've been speaking to Mark about that. He does have a truck that is scheduled for replacement. And if the board so felt, that might be something that we might consider for the fall town meeting. This is, I think it's like 2007, 2008, one of those pickups.
So 7,
Not the dump trucks, I don't think Park Rec needs that,
yeah, I think it's an F-250.
something like that, you know, with a decent amount of miles on it, but for Park and Rec's use, you know, I think it's anything under 60 is gonna be fine for a long term for them. But that would allow them to get a trailer, tow the mower, et cetera, things like that. I think, as Craig said, it'd be nice for the board to consider.
Would they have the plow with the truck? That was one of the trucks that's been repurposed.
The small truck,
Yeah,
I don't know, it obviously would have the plow attachment, that would be a question of looking at the funding, what they're looking for.
would they be able to plow the parking lot to keep it open in the winter?
Well, they've done that in theory as needed already. I mean, all they ever did was make a call to Dana or Mark,
Yeah.
hey, we have some need to get up to the raw building.
We'll have some need, but could they keep it clean in snowstorms to have access to the park for the winter?
They could, but the question is, you know, what's the need? Why do you want to get it?
Hiking?
No, but I'm saying that would be Park and Rec asking, okay, now we're gonna have a winter program. Whereas before, the Parks would always vote to close the gate until such and such a date.
Options?
Right, exactly.
The gas. Gas.
Today, I talked with Kristen. She was going to go over, learn how to use the system, get the card, and show the one member, one employee who will be actually doing that work, getting the gas, how to do it. So, I think we're okay with that.
All right, what you got here? Town administrator.
No, I think we have upcoming meetings. We did have the COA meeting. And again, we're gonna be meeting with the Housing Authority Director, coming back to both CPA and the board with a request from them.
Administrator report.
Okay, as you know, the highway garage project was posted on the central register. We have 17 requests so far from contractors for plans for the project, which is very much a surprise. I've scheduled a walkthrough for the 16th, that's Wednesday at 11 o'clock at the garage for the contractors who have other questions. Larry Tuttle, the architect, designer, will be there. And we've scheduled July 1 at 4 p.m. as the deadline for submission. I attended the quarterly meeting of STAM, that's a small town administrators and managers group, on Thursday the 10th. The reason I went to that, or actually I did it by video conference, they had a presentation on the American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA, for smaller communities, which is exactly what we needed. Following that, I submitted the first request for our funds. Town is going to get 1.5 million. The Treasury has said you get half of it this year. We should actually get half of it within a couple of weeks. And you get the other half next year.
What
And you
time
have
next
until
year?
2000.
What time next year did they say? No, I'm just wondering because the treasurer will probably, even though we're committed to guesstimate between 800 and 900,000, you're saying we're getting 750 up front, which is great. Next year, we'd have to take a state house note for a couple $100,000 for 8 months. 10 months.
They said about this, what I was told in the presentation is you get your second tranche about this time next year.
So minimal cost for that note.
Yeah. So we'll have plenty of funding available for the water projects.
Right, and then go ahead.
And we have until 2024 to spend it. So
Second part. Come
not
on.
everything has to be jammed into 1 year.
Speaking of dates for spending, we still have, we're gonna have some X number of dollars left over from the gaming commission payout.
Yes.
We should try and get a sense of, because we have to have an idea how to spend, not spend it by the end of the year, but a commitment to spend. So we should kind of like think around where else we want to go with this.
I mentioned what the other week about another one of those lights on Main Street here for the crosswalk.
Yeah, Main Street would qualify because that was the route
Right.
that we submitted for. but That's a heck of a, I mean,
Or maybe
you
down
and
by-
I were
maybe down
standing
by the
out there,
park.
we saw some definite need.
I should have numbers for the crosswalk and the signs by the end of the month. By post tomorrow or Thursday on combines. And then we'll know how much we'll have. Look, my guess is we're going to have more than $50,000 remaining after the crosswalk project. By the way, in connection with that, I think if we do a raised crosswalk, it's going to be trouble. That's an arterial street up there. That's not, I mean, I think they work well on side streets, on less trafficked streets. To put a raised crosswalk on an arterial street where people are running 40 to 50 miles an hour could be dangerous. And it's because somebody will not know that it's there somehow, or ignore, or be daydreaming, hit a raised crosswalk, bottom out, and maybe end up in somebody's front yard or some other.
I'm telling you, that one in Long Meadow by Big Y, I don't know how, or the high school, I don't know how they get away with that.
Well, I don't know either.
No.
I know. The other thing, I would think DOT, state DOT might not permit it on Allen Street. We might be able to get by with it on Summers Road, but Allen Street, no. So I'm not going to spec for that because.
We want to put it in the bump and then a town-owned repair shop right after.
Well, yeah, well,
All right,
that works well.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
this is Nancy Ziebert. That section that Ted spoke about last week in Northampton is right on Route 5. So that speed limit is like around 25. So in redoing that whole area from the Scantic River Bridge going to Allen Street and just past where Mountain View and that entrance to a business is, you could make it the whole business district and put the speed limit down to 25.
That's a suggestion.
Right. Well, think about it, you could actually, hate to say it, you hire a plan development plan commission to help you think about that and pay for it with some of this gaming money as well. That's a good consideration.
That's a good idea.
Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you, Nancy.
You're welcome.
Okay,
We
so
also
it's-
got CARES money left over too, right?
we have CARES money left over. I'm about to apply for the last round of that. So.
We're gonna work, pardon, one last thing. We're gonna work with Mark. I know we haven't put the construction schedule up on the website. We'll put that to bed because we did talk, I think the board approved what he had. It came just a couple weeks ago. Let's get it up online so people know.
Okay. Where was it? Okay, the issue at the senior center has been resolved that I mentioned to you a while back. The Amoresco hearing's been postponed, but now it's back on, given that I think they feel that the letter that we got from Fish and Wildlife is positive, and that we can,
It's back on for the 23rd.
no, not yet, unless the planning board hasn't put it back.
Oh, yeah, they have to.
And it really doesn't matter a lot. What matters is that we do the pilot, get it done. Yeah. So Oak Knoll, Susan West called me again, same outcome. We're still looking. They believe that the problem has abated some. That they haven't had complaints.
We haven't received any.
That doesn't mean that they're not
Isn't the
trying.
majority of the problem from that one guy?
One
Can't they just
person,
move
yes,
that
one
one
person.
person out?
That's it.
Nobody noticed it up until that one guy caused it.
We're also acting on the dispatchers issues and met with the capital planning. And I'm assisting in updating. And I think we'll have a complete 20-year vehicle replacement schedule after this coming meeting. I did get the updates from, I have it from Mark, I have it from police chief, and tomorrow afternoon, I'm actually going to walk over to the fire department. And there are a couple of things that need to be done over there and update on mileage for their vehicles. In which case it's done. We might have a little more work to do on repair costs, which I think is the key to the whole thing. It's not just mileage or age, it's how much we're spending on this vehicle that makes the case or not for replacing.
I think that was the key thing when we talked, when they came from the fire department, said, look, yeah, it's got a couple more years on it, but it also needs a new transmission and new whatever. If you really want to throw 10,000, you wouldn't do it at home. So.
I didn't do it, actually. I bought a new vehicle this past weekend because mine has 90,000 on it, and it's
Now that's somebody else's
I
problem.
have to spend some money on it.
Yeah.
I'm sure they, yeah. So that's the report, Mr. Chairman.
All right, anything else to come before the board? Not, well,
We have a lot of, in this executive, we know a lot to discuss in this executive session.
we do.
We do.
I believe we do.
I'll make a motion, Mr. Chair, to enter into executive session without a return to open session for the purpose of discussing strategy with respect to collective bargaining or litigation if this open meeting would have had a detrimental effect on the bargaining or litigating position of the public body. And the chair so declares.
So declared.
Second.
All in favor?
John Flynn, aye.
Down, down, all right.
Frederick, stop.
Thank you all. Will not be able to.